A man is under arrest accused of killing a woman from Colorado in 2006. He's been in this situation before. How police were able to arrest him for the crime again.
At that time, I hear him say, "Oh, I just got shot."
That is not all that witness saw and heard. He tells what else happened before a bicyclist was shot on a Denver street.
Nervousness surrounds two big bank failures within 2 days of each other. Now, some are wondering, are U.S. banks safe? What financial experts say at 5.
It was just about an hour ago that 2 students were hurt. Now Denver police say that they are searching for the driver who hit them and left the scene. This all played out just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, right near Northfield High School.
That's 56th and Central Park Boulevard. Police still do not have details on the students' injuries. They've not given us any descriptions of a suspect or a vehicle. This is the scene we've been following for the last hour or so. The Boulder District Attorney's Office has charged a man from Alaska with killing a woman back in 2006. It's the second time he's been charged in the case. Yeah, a judge dismissed the charges against him in the first case, infuriating the victim's family. Well, 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow now explains.
17 years after her sister's body was found in a steep, rugged canyon just outside Lyons, Tammy Benson says she has hope once again that her sister's killer will finally be held responsible.
I hope justice this time will be served.
In June of 2006, 2 hikers in the South St. Vrain Canyon found a badly decomposed body that appeared to have been dragged from a nearby shallow grave, presumably by a large animal.
She loved life.
Investigators soon determined that the body was that of 38-year-old Angela Wilds, Tammy's sister.
She was loving, she was kind. She wore her feelings on her sleeve.
In 2010, 4 years after the body was found, Boulder prosecutors charged John Angerer, an acquaintance of Angela's, with second-degree murder. But a judge dismissed the case before it went to trial, saying there was not enough evidence.
He is the one who did it.
Tammy says she was devastated when the charges were dropped, and for years wondered if Angerer would ever be held responsible.
I got to pinch myself right now because it's actually things are now starting to happen.
On Monday, Tammy said her prayers were answered when prosecutors told her that they have once again charged John Angerer with second-degree murder in connection with Tammy's death. According to prosecutors, the new charges were filed after investigators developed what they describe as significant new evidence.
And I hope this time the courts, the judge, everybody listens and that he gets what's coming to him.
According to Boulder prosecutors, over the past few years, investigators have identified new witnesses in the case and conducted more DNA testing. Angerer is now being held in Alaska. No word yet on when he'll be brought back to Colorado. Kim and Tom.
Interesting story with so many years having passed. So nice to hear from the sister there. Thank you, Matt.
Aurora authorities have been waiting for 3 months, but now the man accused of killing 4 people in October has been returned to the metro area. Joseph Castorena is accused of killing 3 members of his ex-girlfriend's family and their neighbor. He ran away after the killings, but was eventually arrested in Mexico back in December. Castorena has been in Arizona since then. He was officially brought to the Arapahoe County Detention Center last night. Castorena's brother and cousin both face charges for helping him escape.
A man from Denver who witnessed a shooting last week that injured a bicyclist said today he doesn't know what led up to this dispute. David Howard was walking to his vehicle near the Hungarian Freedom Park on Thursday afternoon when he heard yelling at the intersection of East First Avenue and Emerson Street. Howard saw a bicyclist having words with someone in a car. Then as the car pulled away, he heard a bang, and he was perplexed a moment later when the cyclist put his bike down and set off after the car.
He started running up that way, and I was surprised that he was chasing the car. Well, how are you going to ever catch a car? But it turned out he was memorizing the license plate or what he could see.
The cyclist suffered a relatively minor injury to his upper right arm. Denver police are still investigating the incident and have not yet said if they have any potential suspects.
A woman who was pulled from a fire this morning in Arapahoe County later died from her injuries. A sheriff's deputy was also hurt at the fire, but the injuries said to be minor to the deputy. Crews were called to the mobile home on County Road 157 near Strasburg just before 9:30 this morning. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says they pulled out a woman estimated to be in her 60s, but she died moments later. Several fire agencies worked to put out the flames. Still no word as to a cause.
4 of 5 gun bills are moving on to the Colorado legislature. 3 passed the Senate today, heading to the House for approval. The red flag law expansion bill would increase the number of people who can file to get weapons taken from a person who may be considered a danger to themselves or others. The second bill would remove legal immunity protections from gun sellers and manufacturers. Senators also okayed a third bill to make 21 years old the new age to buy new guns. On Saturday, House lawmakers passed the bill to establish a 3-day waiting period after a gun purchase. The fifth bill, which calls to ban assault weapons in the state, has not been discussed in the House Judiciary Committee yet.
Following collapses of 2 U.S. banks within 48 hours, Silicon Valley Bank on Friday and Signature Bank yesterday, President Biden today was reassuring Americans that the banking industry is safe.
There are important questions of how these banks got into the circumstance in the first place. We must get the full accounting of what happened and why those responsible can be held accountable.
The president also calling for Congress to re-tighten financial regulations. Financial experts and economists tell NBC News that everyone's money is safe in a bank as long as it's in an FDIC-insured bank. There is talk that these collapses may lead the Federal Reserve to take it a bit easier on interest rate hikes, which have been hard on banks and investment values.
It may feel like we just wrapped up an election, but today more ballots are being sent to Denver voters. They're for the municipal election coming up on April 4th. Voters will have until that day to get their filled out ballots back to the Denver Elections Division, either through mail or in a drop box. There are also a few in-person voting centers. The biggest race is for mayor of Denver, and tomorrow you have another chance to hear from 11 candidates in our second mayoral debate. They are the top tier of a poll we commissioned with our partners at Colorado Politics, the Denver Gazette, and MSU Denver. It will be a 2-hour-long debate with no commercials on Channel 20 and 9 News Plus starting at 7 p.m.